Welcome. This is Mark Soden. I'm with Santa Ana Noise Fest 13. I'm here interviewing Joe Perez.
I'm Joe Perez, or some call me Joel Perez. My project is Flesh Vomit, and I'm coming out of Imperial, California.
The first question is, what led you to experiment with noise?
Well, back when I was in my early 20s, I want to say like 19, early 20s, I just got really inspired by industrial music, like a typical Skinny Puppy, and then I really got into suicide and stuff like that. And I kind of wanted to make something, myself. And I at the time I didn't know anything about experimental music or noise or anything like that. I was really naive, and where I'm at, and a lot of the people here, it's very it's kind of just its own little vacuum in a way. And I never really had any internet access or stuff like that, so whatever I got my hands on, it was either books or reading liner notes. And I just started experimenting with sounds and stuff like that, because I really liked more of the sort of like the ambient noise stuff that Skinny Puppy was doing, like in stuff like Cleanse, Fold, and Manipulate. And I just kind of naively got into it. And I met a guy, his name was Derek, and he was just really into what I was doing. And he kind of turned me on to like what noise was. He opened my eyes to like death industrial, harsh noise wall, and just stuff like that. So like my first introduction was stuff like it was stuff like Wolf Eyes, or what was a real White House. Like I remember driving around, and he was like, "Oh, I got to show you these two things," and it was Bird Seed from White House, and Burned Mind from Wolf Eyes. Like that was my intro.
Perfect. Wow, that's great.
Yeah, and then I kind of I was doing that for a minute, and then I kind of fell out of it. I just started going along more of like a dark ambient soundtracky sort of things, and in the process I was doing more of like kind of abstract beats and just something like completely different things that were like interests of mine. And one day, it was back in 2014, I felt that urge, like nothing was really like scratching that urge. So like I had no equipment at the time. All I had was a pirate copy of a DAW that I won't name right now, and just your typical voice recording program that's on a laptop. So like within like 15 seconds, I'm over there like pushing record while making like sounds with my mouth and making these noises, and then putting it in there and then adding effects. So it was just that urge to do it again, and it was like so long since I did it. And like it just started coming like just natural to me. And it felt really good to just kind of come back to something years later, a little more knowledgeable, a lot more mature with it, and more of a I guess more of a vision versus let's see how this goes sort of thing.
hmm The next question is, do you have a piece of gear that you're going to use for Santa Ana Noise Fest 13 that you find inspiring and would like to tell us about?
I do. Actually, I have two pieces. One of them is gas mask that I have a contact mic fixated inside. That's kind of like the link to what I was initially doing as Flesh Vomit, just kind of how I started to where it is now, which is a lot more complex, I guess. And a springboard. I actually made one a while back using a shaker that I purchased from Crank Sturgeon just years back. And I was like, oh, you know what? Like, I don't have a contact mic, but I'm like hell bent on making this springboard. So how am I going to do it? And it's like, well, and I basically the only thing I really did was just take out the BBs that were inside the shaker. But outside of that, it's like it's I feel really inspired with springboards in general. Ever since
Mm-hmm.
I got one from electrolobotomy,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and that was a while back too. But they just it's really inspiring to me because those two things, you know, it's like vocalizing. You can make like this is a like such an instrument, you know, like your vocals are such an instrument, and then something like a springboard, you can just do a lot with it. You can bow it, you can just pluck it, you can just bash on it like it's a bass guitar. You know, to me, it's simplistic yet versatile.
So now, Imperial is in Southern California. Is that the Imperial that's down kind of by Brawley?
Yes, it's actually about 12 minutes away from Brawley. And if
Okay.
yeah, if you keep going south, you hit El Centro. The last city is Calexico, and then from Calexico, there's a border between Calexico and Mexicali, so it's the U.S. Mexico border.
So, what is the noise scene like in your area?
It is it's very very scarce. You do have some people that kind of mess with things sometimes. Some younger kids, you know, but it's more like noise rock sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's there are actually quite a bit of a couple of artists in Baja California, which you know I'm able to play, you know, from time to time. Not recently because I do need to get a pass card, but I believe you know I want to go back over there. But you know, there's a project called Error Humano, which is like a really just gnarly just noise set. If you catch them, you never know what you're gonna get. You know, you never know if you're gonna get like 5 minutes and that's it, or if you're just gonna get this like 20-minute like epic like jam session. And
Wow.
I really hate the fact that the name eludes me, but one of the members, Efren, he actually just, if I'm not mistaken, he just released something recently under his project, which is really awesome. I hate the fact that the name eludes me, but it's worth checking out. But you know, once if you look up Error Humano, like it's easy to find that. You know.
Well, we'll work together and get the links, and we'll put the links below so people can check it out. How do you prepare for a performance?
It takes it varies sometimes. The majority of the time I have it's a little easier now just with doing it for so long since this project has been going on so long. It's easier for me to kind of just get the skeletal of how I want certain things to go during a performance because I like to highlight certain things. I love to give people like an experience. So, you know, initially in the beginning, what I would do is I would just, you know, just rile myself up, um, just try to get in this mindset, just to kind of produce the most like just brutal, like the most brutal just display I possibly could, and just have the sonic aspect kind of swirl around that. Where as it is now, it's more of I want to create just this really dense, really bleak, blackened, almost spectral atmosphere. So getting into the mood of stuff like that, you know, I'll tend to just maybe listen to like something that kind of like speaks to that. Like I might go into like maybe listen to some like dark ambient stuff, or I'll just like be like, you know what, I just need a sheer brutality. So like it kind of just depends on me. Like what my goal is in the long run when it comes to just a specific set because you know I do use theatrics a lot. That's just something that wound up incorporating itself in my work. But yeah, Usually, just my preparation is figuring out a mood I'm trying to capture, or just something that is just not like just unintangible. You know, like you can't really place any sort of description on it. You know, it's almost like an apparition that just like appears, and before you know it, it's gone. So I that's typically how I try to prepare myself. I usually just go with the flow, and just if it changes on a dime, then it changes on a dime. But once I hone everything in, that's when I start getting a lot more serious. I start trimming the fat. I start getting a lot more prepared for everything. Like there's planning. There's times where I just take notes, or it's just like, oh, it's a mental cue I can just remember, like regardless. So that's usually how I prepare. I kind of just go inward and just kind of get little inspirations here and there from life, or I might, like I said, I might listen to something and I'll take a cue, and it's like, oh, I kind of want to run with like this idea. So it's a very it varies a lot, and it just keeps evolving just the longer I do it. But like I said, it gets a lot easier the longer I do it.
Sure, absolutely. Now, I understand that you're very involved in visual art as well.
Yes, I am.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about what you're doing there?
Yes, I'm actually I've been collaging for a few years now. Um, it's something that I never thought that I would actually start doing. Originally, I would be doing illustrations. I do a lot of charcoal work, and I was doing like really just like precise, like trying to do as precise as humanly possible, like illustrations. And I was never really strong with collage, from ever since like taking art classes and stuff like that. I was never really strong at it, and for some reason I just had it in my head. It's like, you know what? I have this biology book I got at a thrift shop. I have I have a couple pieces of paper. Let's see what I can do. And I just kind of started going from there. And a lot of my work is very death based. It almost works in tandem with what I do sonically as well. And it's more so of an exploration, and more so of like a respect. It's not more like the exploitation of like death or gore or anything like that. I focus on trying to create something beautiful out of something macabre, or something just like really dark, and just just like the ugly realities of just daily life as as a human being.
Okay, thanks. Is there anything else you'd like to add or tell people that'll be seeing this?
um I hope you enjoy what I'm doing. I have a few releases in the works right now. One in particular, which I probably just need to do like maybe one or two more recording sessions. And as far as I'm concerned, it's done. I'm gonna mix and master it out and get that going. There's quite a bit of people in California that just have really amazing projects. Actually, one of them that I got stoked on that I didn't know until recently was the Flesh Void, which I caught their set um, during the San An not NorCal Noise Fest. When they were doing the live stream, I caught that and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is really good. Anything that Logan 3 Double puts out, their work
Mm-hmm.
is just awesome. Ben, Stress Clot is his new project. That's oh man, it's like devastating stuff. Like it's really good. Those are things like I would honestly like I can gush over. And then Yeah, I want to rep Male Tears. They're not noise, but if you need to give your ears a calming listen and you need some like really, really good pop, some really good synth pop, these guys.
Male Tears.
Yeah,
Okay.
LA based.
This is for Santa Ana Noise Fest 13. Mark Soden here with Joel Perez. Thank you, Joel. Have a great evening,
Thank
and
you for
we'll
having
talk
me.
soon.
Yeah, thank you for having me. You too.